Thank you very much. We have a few minutes for Q&A, just a very few minutes for Q&A, and then we can continue to talk over lunch if you can stay. Thank you.
Well, we can start for right now. Yeah.
Hi. Well, I'm with Jewish Voice for Peace. I'll just, express my own opinion and ask a quick question. I guess one question that we have to think about is, do war criminals have a right to speak? Right? Now, my own answer to that is, yes, they do, and people have a right to hear them. But at the same time, when an institution like a university brings the war criminal to campus, don't people have a right to stand up and say, you're a war criminal, which is essentially what occurred here. People have a right to hear the war criminal, and they did. The speech was delivered. Nobody was threatened. The auditorium wasn't blocked. Nobody phoned in a bomb threat or anything like this. People got up and said, you're a war criminal, and walked out. And I don't even see that as being on the borderline. There may be issues, there may be situations where there's borderline and gray areas. So I really just have two questions, one to the professors. If war criminals have a right to speak, don't people have a right to get up and say you're a war criminal? And my other question was for Osama, which is, when the prosecutor began, engaging in this, vendetta activity, did the university administration take any position on the prosecutor's behavior or whether or not they were in favor of a criminal prosecution?
Would you like to start? Okay. In terms of the university made, I think, one comment in which they said that the matter has been now taken up by the district attorney, so it's not in our hands anymore. They didn't really side yes or no. Although I personally believe that the university may not have wanted it to go to court just because the university, I believe, is sick of being known as, the campus that stifles Palestinian activism. And usually a lot of what is known about UC Irvine, if you look it up, is they had a big stem cell research malpractice issue that occurred and became a national controversy a few years back, and otherwise it's become the Palestinian issue. I don't think the university is too fond of the fact that they're known as this area where Palestinian activism is very strongly held close to the heart of the students. So they may not have wanted it to go to court just for that reason, in terms of publicity. Otherwise, I can't really say. Although the one comment they made was, "Oh, it's in their hands now. It's not our fault, or it's not really at our discretion anymore." So it's just kind of like an answer.
In answer to your question about the war criminals and the right to speak, my point is precisely, of course, that when someone who comes to speak is an apologist for kinds of acts that you regard as criminal and you see as not being redressed by any formal process that's actually taking place within any country or within the international system in any effective way, it seems to me that you have not only the right but perhaps the duty to rebut the kind of respect being conferred upon that figure by doing what you can to effect in some way the withdrawal of that kind of regard from that person. And there are many ways to do that. What concerned me, frankly, about seeing some of the footage, I didn't watch the whole tape, but saw, sort of what I thought was a kind of creatively edited version of it that was skewed in the prosecution's favor. But I was quite concerned about what sort of effect this was having on the audience's ability to actually listen to what was being presented. And as someone on the other side of these issues so frequently, like Peter, I'm responsible very frequently for bringing to campus people who are considered to be terrorists, people who are considered to be all kinds of outrageous in one form or other. I think that's very important to our mission as an institution. And we need to be concerned that we create an academic space where it's possible for different kinds of people to be heard, particularly those who aren't heard all the time. Michael Oren is heard all the time, so I'm willing to indulge a certain amount of double standard in that sort of circumstance. But I nonetheless think that we do need to have certain norms in place for an academic community. To me, the real question is what level of sanction is appropriate if those norms are indeed transgressed. And I don't want to second guess the question of whether the norms were transgressed in this situation. What I think was clearly transgressed was any kind of bound of propriety with respect to the reaction to all of this. The idea that law enforcement was involved at all, let alone involved in this remarkably intrusive way, with an incredible charge of conspiracy. I mean, these things I think are beyond the pale.